Hi, beautiful souls, and welcome back to this week's episode. We're a little bit late this week, but that's okay. Of Soul Sisters Real and Raw talk show. And Erika, you've been to Sevilla as well.
Yay! Yeah, it was an amazing trip. Oh my gosh, we needed it. We needed it because life has been happening and it's just a lot. So, yeah, and
Yeah,
today we want to talk about something that we all experience because we all come from somewhere. We all come from a mother. We all have families. And the topic is how your relationship with your mother shapes your life. And we want to
it's a
bring
big
our
one.
own perspective and experience. You want to get it started? You have something to say, Jaya,
I
about
can actually, I can dive right into it.
right in? Yes.
I have recently, so I kind of go from present and then back, but I have recently truly understood and felt and experienced how my relationship with my mom has kind of taken another form when I have kept my heart open. Even when I've been triggered, I felt criticized. She has a way sometimes to kind of where I feel minimized. And I know it's not about me, but before I went into the trigger, I defend myself, or you could see my whole energy shifted. And now I was like, just saying to her, no, I don't agree, blah, blah, blah. And I, you know, explain what I thought and what was true for me. And then she could have her truth and I could have mine. And for me, that's massive. Like it's so big. But what I recognize is that within my business and everything, she is kind of, and in my life, to be honest, she's always supported me much more than I have. I've taken that for granted, I think. So I had to like, oh my God, it's not, I've been so much in my wounded inner child most part of my life. And where I have felt, where I can still feel some kind of, uh, you know, discomfort sometimes, it's actually not about her, it's about my biological mother that I'm also healing. So I'm kind of, I've been healing both of them, but not as, when it's kind of merged into each other, like energetically. And now I think I will focus more on my biological and go wherever is needed to go deeper and kind of leave the relationship with my mom to just unfold, continue to unfold, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense, and that's so beautiful that you are kind of releasing any attachments to the relationship being a certain way and just
Yeah,
showing up in a loving presence, in a loving energy, in kind of accepting everything as it comes because there's a lot of emotions, there's a lot of things that go in the nucleus in the family, and this is the first people that we are exposed to as kids,
exactly.
right? And that shapes our perception of the world. It shapes our energetic kind of bandwidth,
Yeah,
and and the way we perceive ourselves, the world, and others. And we can also take like emotions from them. We can take ideas from them. We can take baggage from them, and especially the mother, since we are born from a mother, and we also inherit through the mitochondria a lot of her ways. Many times I see this with clients and with myself. You know yourself a certain way, and then all of a sudden you have these reactions that are like unlike you, and other people notice, and they're like calling you out, and you're like, "What?" And it's like, yeah, for me, for example, is being rage. Rage was showing up many times with many tones in my life. And I was like, whoa, why? Like, I don't consider myself like a pissed off person, but it will come so intensely, like I own it, it's mine. And it took me years to really find the root cause of all this anger. And of course, it was my mother and all her unresolved anger towards things and things not going the way that she wanted and life not turning out the way she desired. And unlike you, I had to distance myself from my mom, and that was the most loving thing for me because it was so consuming. And when you have a narcissistic mom that only focus like on her emotions and what matters to her, and you just like a thing in her world that she can manipulate and control at her desires, is very difficult, And I decided, I don't know if this is forever. I don't feel that it will be, but for the time being, I needed to distance myself. And it's difficult because I'm Latina. I was brought up in Colombia, and in my culture, family is everything. And
Yeah,
people tell
true.
you all the time how, family is family, blood is blood, like doesn't matter what happened. And this kind of comments entail that you have to swallow whatever, even if it doesn't come from a loving place, even if it's very distorted, very toxic, it affects you psychologically and sometimes physically. My
Yeah.
father also was very abusive physically because I consider him to be bipolar. Sometimes he was fine, sometimes he just wasn't. And his rage will be taken out in whoever came his way. And when you experience those dynamics and you're like, wait a minute, the most loving thing for me is to remove myself. But then people that from the outside world that don't live in your shoes
Yeah.
can say, but family is family, like you have to love your mom, you have to honor your father, like you have to. And it's like, no, you don't.
No, you don't.
We get
True.
choice, and but people get shame. I see it all the time with clients that they get shame and they feel shame to take the leap, even like they see all the signs, they see all the red flags all over. Their body constricts, they get sick when they have to go and do these gatherings, right? That we have like
Yeah.
socially accepted, like these gatherings throughout the year, and they get sick, they get constricted, like they know, and it's like it's not a safe place for them, like their nervous system is just like all over the place, but they force themselves into it because of the pressure and the judgment that others create around this. And I think I see and I celebrate so many people for making that choice of honoring what feels right for them at the moment, because it might change in few months or it might change in few years, like you never know. Honoring those choices that are coming from a loving place, like nobody in their right mind, just because they think it's cool to do that, nobody, like you have to go through a series of events, conclusions, and really studying the situation to make a decision like that. So I think if we can just be more loving and more accepting that there is not a one way to be,
Exactly.
right? That people now are choosing themselves. I see it more than ever. It makes me really happy that they want to hold others accountable for the ways they operate, for the behaviors, for what they put out in the world, not justifying, oh, just because that's the way they are, or just because they're my mom, my father, whoever. No.
No, and like you say, I think if, because my purpose and mission is like the the most important. Okay, myself and my children, but otherwise it is my purpose and mission. And if someone would try to, kind of make me go another way, or I wouldn't. So I have thought myself, when we were not in alignment, that I would choose myself, and if it was necessary, I would, go my own way completely. But what happened is that the universe wanted to bring me really to heal this wound. So I think that's why kind of I created the scenario where I had to mow on her farm. So I live like not in the same house, but on her farm. So and it's 4 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But during this time, I went through the deepest healing, and it's been intense because I haven't shared everything either. So she had her, way of interpret the situation and so on. But if I can see the changes and the growth, even if she, how can I say, she hasn't been open consciously to do the healing work, but I have seen how we have co-regulated. So somewhere within her, she has been open. Otherwise, I wouldn't have seen that. I can see and I can feel it, and where we're at right now. But I really honor you for bringing this up about your family and your mother and everything, because so many out there, I don't want people to feel guilt or shame if they don't. Because you can still heal and keep your heart open, even if you feel, like you said, rage or disappointed or sad. Whatever you feel, you could still, on a distance,
Yes.
heal and keep your heart open. And for me, with my biological mother, I tend to know some more about her, and I'm very open now to go deeper. But it's not at all, I think, that I have thought. It's not about, but the reaction wound has kind of transformed like my whole life. Do you say transform? Integrate, whatever you say. Because of that she didn't choose me. If I go, like the inner child, I would say that. But there is so much more to it. And of course, it was meant for me to be in Sweden and I understand the Western world. That's how I see it.
Totally. And I love that you're bringing that up because that connection is there even if you're not in touch with your biological mother, because we create these entrainments that are non-physical with people that bring us to this planet, and sometimes people get shocked like how contradictory, like you would choose like very difficult circumstances and you would choose a mother that cannot keep you because of whatever her circumstances are.
Exactly.
This mother is gonna place you in a position where you're gonna get to your path, you're gonna get to what you came here to overcome and work on. And it's like it's so divinely planned, it's so divinely designed, even if it doesn't feel like that
Yeah.
sometimes. I get it. And it's so beautiful that you also mentioned that as you're changing, you see the changes in your mother, your adopted mother, because it's like when you are changing yourself, and we have this entrenchment with people that we are in constant proximity with. We have all these entrenchments. It's like they come and go and take it, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like this. It's a dance, but in my awareness, the person that holds, let's call it for simplicity, the highest vibration of like the most coherent state of being, kind of sets the pace for the consciousness that you have created together, because we created with groups, we created with individuals, like we have these bubbles and these levels of consciousness that we share. And it's like when you are up leveling yourself, when you are changing, it can go either way. And I see it a lot with clients. It's like, for example, in the most typical scenario is partnership. Like you have a partner and you are working on yourself and you are in this growth journey and healing and all of this, but this other person isn't. And there is this kind of feeling that I want them to do it too, but I cannot force them. How do I do it? And I always advise, like, we don't force, we don't, because that's a personal choice. And if it's not in the life purpose plan, they're not gonna get there. If their plan was not to get there, doesn't matter how you sell yourself, how amazing this world is of transformation and inner healing and all that. Like, this person is not gonna buy it, it's not gonna do it. And it's through your own transformation and the quantum entrainments. If that person in a subconscious level agrees to also up level, you're gonna
Yeah.
see the changes.
Yeah.
You're gonna see the transformation, even if they're not actively engaged in elevating themselves or in working in themselves. And I
I
see
love
that
this.
a lot.
And I think with my love and my partner Christian, like we are in a like, how can you say, physical separation, not spiritual, but I truly believe because the intensity of our energies together brought up everything that needed to heal, and especially for me, my attachment, like anxiety attachment style, was really heightened with his energy, and he is of course the opposite, avoidant.
Of course.
So, for 4 years, it was a lot of going deeper and deeper. Like, I could project my shit. I did it many times and then brought myself back and like, so I'm really sorry. Like, and he was still there and so on. But where we are at now, I feel is also because it's meant for me to really, open up my heart even more and, like you say, continue my journey, because he was on his, and I'm not going to say where he was at because that's his, like, for integrity for him, but he needs to do it himself. And just with twin flames as well, I would say you have to come back to your own heart and your own, like, not needing each other at all. That's kind of the concept of twin flames. So physically, you don't, how do you say, you might not need to reconnect physically. I truly believe we are, because I already seen the future self of us. But so I know it, but I don't know when. And for me to let go of that attachment, it's so liberating. And it took me, 4 years, 5 years, something like that.
Wow.
And it's worth it.
Yeah, of course it's worth
So
it.
kind of the mother, you know what I'm trying to say, like the heart, it's important. And he needs to do his journey.
Yeah, we cannot do it for anyone, and it's
Nope.
so beautiful
I
that you
tried
also.
to
Yeah, no,
push him.
we try when we're like, okay, we want things a certain way, right?
Yeah.
And when it presents like not like what we want, is when we really lose it. And it's like sometimes we get so intense, and especially people like us that are into like the manifesting world, like we can manifest, but like if it's not in your life's plan and it's not for your highest good, it's not gonna come through. Can you be okay with it? Can you just let everything unfold as it should? Releasing the attachment to the outcomes is one of the hardest things. Like me too. I am a recovered. I always joke with my clients. I'm a recovered perfectionist because I was such a perfectionist, right? I was so intense with work, with everything, with my art when I was doing artwork. It was so intense. Like I didn't have a life. I didn't go on vacation. Didn't have
Yeah.
weekends. Like, and then I had such a pride of like my work, right? And so
Yeah.
impeccable. And I
Of
was like
course. It's
completely
personal.
destroyed, right? And I was completely destroyed along the way. I wouldn't ask for help. I wouldn't ask for support. And it's like, really? That's a really, really delusional way of perceiving yourself, because we are not results. We're just beings, and we're work in progress. And if we can just let go of whatever outcome that you want it to be, if it's in a relationship, especially relationships, because that's the most complex thing
It
that we come
is.
here to
It
experience.
is.
Minding you that in other dimensions and realities, they don't have the range of emotions that we do. that we have those polarities, like I hate you and I love you, and all these kind of things that kind of go hand in hand. I don't know how, but they do. And we come here to surrender that heightened emotions,
Yeah.
because in my awareness, what has worked for me, I'm a very deep person. I'm very passionate about things, and it's like always coming back to center, because being like that also has a downside. It's like I can make choices like when I'm heightened, and they're not the best choices, because right, I'm like
Yeah.
this energy, like, and coming back to center and coming back to that heart coherence, like, okay, if it's highest good for me, highest good for all, it's gonna land. And it took me years, honestly, to instill this belief within myself, even though life happens. Sometimes things kind of like turn upside down and don't look like what you plan or what you desire. But you're like, okay, what is here for me? If you can just be there with the discomfort, like, what am I going through this? What's the plan of all this? And have that firm belief that something is going to unfold, that it was meant for the highest good for you and the
Yeah.
highest good for all.
Yeah. And I also think, like with him, he's extremely spiritual, and he was doing his healing journey. But for me, that was kind of deep diving into, he was like, oh my God, that you dare to do it. So I don't think, what I feel is this really deep inner knowing, because the love, and he said it as well, like, I've never experienced, I didn't even know that love could feel this way. And you have shown me that is so liberating and free. And I felt the same. So it's hard to explain the kind of connection, but I'm sure you can understand, like when it's just a soul recognition where everything feels in alignment, even if there was so much intensity of the energy, but it was also very safe, very, very safe. So when I hear his voice, it's like my whole nervous system just.
Exactly.
And for me, because I've had a lot of people, but how do you know? Like maybe the two of you will not, end up together. Kind of the fairy tale, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I just know. But how do you know? You don't know, because people have so many. They're caught up in the attachment. That's how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, the outcome. But
Mm-hmm.
when you know, you know. And
Yeah.
when you don't know, you don't know. Like, it's
Yeah.
okay as well.
It's okay. And I totally, because I'm feeling into the energy of what you're saying. And it's like, yeah, I know that love, that you don't have to be physically with the person,
No.
but you want them the best, to have the best life, the best health, the best everything. And it's like, if they're meant to you, they'll come to you.
Exactly.
And just release with love, because like it cannot be forced, it cannot be manipulated, right? Like it has to come from it takes two to tango. It takes two
It
people
takes two.
to make that choice, because like something that I also found, I've been in a relationship for so long that I think that's the longest relationship I've ever been, is over 16 years with the same partner, and we've been through hell and back together. And a lot of people trying to interfere with our relationship
Yeah.
throughout years, over
Thank
and
you.
over again.
Yep.
And what I have found is that if you kind of, if you focus on the past and the things that transcended and who said what, and blah, blah, you're never gonna experience the relationship as you want it, because there's always gonna be that resentment. There's gonna be that these people say this, these people did that. Like there's a lot of baggage to it. But something that I have found in my personal life that works for me is just deleting, destroying everything in the past. What happened in the past was the past. How do you choose to show up today for the relationship and construct that relationship on a daily, like dedicate, like, right, like when we plant plants, like flowers, like it takes time to grow, and you water it and you take care of it, and you like remove, you clip away the leaves that are dead. All of that is like the same for the relationship. And you always showing up for the relationship as a fresh, with a brand new fresh energy, because sometimes too, especially people like myself, and I work with others that have been in relationships for so long, you can take the other person for granted. And it's like, oh, that person's there and like there, and like lose interest, like like show up in a way that is kind of like whatever. And it's not whatever, because if a person is deciding to choose to stay with you in today's day, like how the world is like, okay, well, like I feel special, like how amazing that is, right? Like their company, their beingness, their desire to share this complex life with you. And if you're going into your heart and, okay, receiving that with like gratitude is an understatement. It's like receiving that with excitement, and meeting that person with like, okay, let's work together on this relationship on a daily, right? Letting go of all the things that didn't support. And of course, going back to like, this is like basic, like communication and all the things. Oh, my tea's gonna fall out. I think is super important, because nowadays, with all the things that we see in the media, I think that people are very short temper. They jump into things so quickly rather than filtering through your own knowing, filtering through your heart. We can
And
also,
also, something that I felt, to truly, if you project, to kind of pull yourself back to your own, like, okay, this was about me. What's happening here? Because it is easy to blame someone else. When it is, if we're talking about love relationship or the relationship with our children, I would say, because it was my birthday this week, and the day after I was completely mad, or I wasn't nice, and my children were like, who are you today, Mom? What's going on? This is not okay. And it wasn't. I was like, this is not even my energy. I sound like a horrible person. Not horrible, but horrible like in the way, I said things.
it's not coming from a loving
The
place.
tone, not the loving tone, no. So I would say as well to not be scared to apologize. I've been apologized to him. Like I apologized to him so many times when I know I've been on a rant. My emotions has been all over the place. But to like, okay, this is my shit. I apologize for, blaming, and the other way around. But also not to be afraid to hold myself accountable with boundary setting, because that took me a long time to really set, the boundaries where like I wouldn't settle for a lower standard with him. And he was really like grateful that I called him out. So to also, I think it's a beautiful mirror
Yeah.
and extremely like tough mirror sometimes. But to truly own your own insecurities.
Yeah. I love that. I love that, because it takes a lot of courage. That's another thing. It takes a lot of courage to
It
own
does.
your shit, your shortcomings, your bad temper. Like we all have it, and it's like we take this so much like the end of the world, but it's like we just experiencing emotions, energy, emotion. It needs to go somewhere. So the more it's good that you brought that up, like your children calling you out, and it's like sometimes, because I briefly talk about those energetic tendrils, this kind of entrainments that we have with family members and other people that are close to us. And many times, because I went through a period of time that I was like deeply working on this on myself. We can operate with other people's patterns. We can operate with other people's habits. We can operate with other people's way of being and their reaction, especially. And I remember being there and calling myself out. And I have we have a great communication with my partner. He would like call me out. It's like, you sound like your mother. And I was like, wait a minute, yes. Exactly. Like that wouldn't be something that I would go to, but it's like I am operating in somebody else's
Yeah.
software. Like it's not
Yeah.
even me. So having the courage to go in and okay, take kind of accountability that yeah, maybe that didn't come from a loving place. I allow myself to get peace. I allow myself to operate with that and resolve. Well, why am I still running that pattern that is not even mine? Go there, right?
Yeah.
Go there. Like it is like the more that you address it when you see it in motion and change it, right? Like try to change it because that's how we disrupt the pattern through kind of installing a new habit. If you're used to respond in a certain way, what would it feel? Or what would it take? Or who would you be if you respond in a different way?
Yeah.
That's how
And
we.
also, where we kind of started with, for me, it was every time I hold myself accountable, my heart opened up even more. And then I could give him so much more love. And he felt it. We, like, sometimes we didn't even have to speak because he felt it. Anyhow, because the, it's very telepathic, but that was love I was giving to myself first and then out. So I think, like you said, it's not meant to be easy peasy. Like, but there is a lot of, like, on the social media as well, it looks like the power couple, blah, blah, blah. But for me, that takes a lot of courage, like you said, to actually grow individually and together.
Yeah, and like that, I always see what I see on social media because I have met like the most aligned couples that are just you know that there's such a synergy in their energy and the way they carry themselves and they have their moments, you know, like
Of
everybody
course.
has, and it's like we're not striving for perfection. I think what we need to really remember is that we're striving for presence, and
Yeah.
that's what we are all trying to acquire and
And
the journey
connection. Connection.
connection. Yeah,
Yeah.
because when we're present,
Yeah.
we really connect.
Yeah.
We're listening, we're at ease, we are focused, we're engaged, the level of communication, your mind is not other place than in the moment.
Yeah.
And your
True.
heart is in the moment and it's like
Yeah.
it's open and you are receiving and you're connecting in different levels. And it's like that is our normal way of being
It is.
spiritually. But when we come here and we just succumb to all the programming and all the distortions and imprints, it's like, yeah, we start believing otherwise. But this is what we